Good morning, Denise. Good morning, Angela.
Good morning. I am heading out the door, so I'm on. Um, I turn my video off.
No worries. No
Okay.
worries at all.
Okay, sounds good.
We'll wait just a few minutes, you guys, just to make sure there's no other people hopping on.
Techie guy had techie problem.
Wow, your shirt's a little crazy today.
Like
Wow.
that, just for you guys.
All right. Well, it is 9 o'clock, and we'll probably see a few more people jump on here, hopefully. But thank you, everybody, for joining. Those are here this morning. That says a lot about your business and what you're hoping to accomplish for next year. As I sent out in my little promo video, it's never too early to really start thinking about next year. And this is actually the perfect time. October is really the time that we want to be setting our goals and doing our business planning for the next year, so that, if there's any changes, maybe you're maybe thinking of adding an assistant or staff, or reducing that, or just any changes in the way that you're doing your marketing or your business in general. You want to be able to decide what those changes are, make those changes, so that really by November 1st, or the worst case, November 15th, you're up and running with those changes. Because again, like I said in my video, what you're doing November and December is what's showing up as results, in January and February. So, we're really starting 2024, the last 2 months of 2023. So kudos to you guys for being here. Today, we're going to probably do this business planning over the next 2 to 3 weeks of our masterminds. I've never done one via Zoom, so I hope it's as effective as they are when you go in person. I'm going to ask for, actually, what I'll do is I'm going to share my screen and we'll kind of just get into it here. Hold on one second. Okay, can you see this, the little PowerPoint, you guys? Okay, so let me do this. We'll go into slideshow mode. Okay. So what you can expect basically today, we're really, today's kind of just more about setting the stage. We're going to do some very important work, which sets up business planning, but we're going to get into more of the meat of like really running the numbers and, getting into like the strategies behind what your 2024 looks like, probably more in the next session. But today is still really important. So what we're going to expect from today's session and the next, couple weeks is, number one, we're going to start with a mantra of, this is all about DTFW. Does anybody know what that stands for? It's do the friggin' work, right? So you're basically, your year, the success of your year is all about you doing the work that you need to do. And I'm going to say, That's also the mantra for your business planning session is there's going to be some homework at the end of today that we give you. And you need to go and do that homework so that it sets up next week's mastermind for success for you, because we're really going to be digging into, you know, the goal planning, the breakdown of the goals and the strategies behind those goals. So I'm going to need you to do your homework, you know, at the end of this session to have a really good next session. Okay. So do the frickin' work, however you want to say it. Off camera, we get a little bit more aggressive, but anyway. Minimal presenting. I'm going to go through a PowerPoint just to kind of get us on the topic of the parts of business planning, but you're really the one that's going to build your plan, and you're going to be doing that really outside of this mastermind. Okay. So again, it's all about doing the work afterwards so that you have your own individual plan. I can't walk you through a Zoom and we all come up with the same plan. You're going to have to do your homework offsite. And I'm going to ask for participation. Okay. This is only going to be successful if you guys jump in and respond. So if you can share and I ask questions, please jump on in. We're going to try to keep this super simple. But again, you go as deep as you want on your own when you're really diving into your own plan. In the future sessions, like I said, we're going to dig deep into goal setting work, the strategy work behind it. We're going to use those 1-3-5 and the 4-1-1 systems. So if you guys aren't familiar with those, we'll get into more of those later, but they're really a way to help break down your goal into simple, easy things to do on a daily or weekly basis that will help you achieve your goals. And we'll also talk about how to set up your perfect week calendar to make it a little bit easier to do those activities. Okay. And so then in the end, we hope that you're walking away with your numbers for 2024 and a rough draft plan on how to get there. Okay. Any questions on that?
Nope.
Okay, awesome. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the first thing that we need to do is really just be in the right headspace, right? And the right mindset. First of all, you know, the saying from Henry Ford is whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right, right? So which side of that fence are you going to be on? We have to start changing our mindset to we can, right? Not we can't. So, and why is mindset so important? It's basically 90% of your success is mindset, right? The other 10% is what you're doing. So that's why it's so important. Some fun facts.
Cal, real quick, are we supposed to be seeing your video or your PowerPoint?
PowerPoint.
Okay, we don't see it. All we see is your video screen.
Oh,
YouTube.
The YouTube video.
Oh, well, hang tight. Let me see what's going on. Oh yeah, we don't want that, do we?
Looks like technical
Hold on,
errors.
let me stop the
running the
share. Thank you. That's a little, you're probably like, what the heck?
Yeah,
Okay, can you see that?
Yes.
yeah, that's better.
Okay, so let me do this and let me go to, hang on a second here. I gotta move this bar. Oh, here we go. There. Hey, slideshow. I can't get to my little bar here to help. Okay, this worked so great when I was practicing, but all right, well, you're gonna see my notes and whatnot. So anyway, you guys can see this though? You can see my slides?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, under the home button, you can just hit play from start.
Where are you? Oh, yeah, I don't wanna. Oh, wait, here, presenter view. Oh, no, I don't want that. That's all right. It's all right. It's all good. As long as you guys can see this important stuff here, that's what we want. So, okay. So this is what I was talking about, what to expect, right? Do the work. We're gonna minimal presenting here. I need participation. Keep it simple. We'll go through some more tools later and you'll walk away with your rough draft. Okay. So now can you see this?
Mhm.
I'm going to move my little bar back up out of my way here. Hold on one second. Okay. So again, mindset super duper important when we're thinking about getting in the frame of mind for business planning and for your next year. So some fun facts about your mind is we speak a minimum of 500 words a minute or 3,000 words an hour to ourselves. So when you think about that, what are you telling yourself, right? What are the things that you're saying that's building your mindset? Your reality depends on 3% from conscious thinking and 97% from unconscious beliefs. So again, you can say things, but what do you truly believe? What's in your subconscious from what you've been telling yourself, right? And this is a good one. Your conscious is your goal setter, but your subconscious is your goal getter. So we can sit here and do our business planning and do our, the conscious goal setting, but your subconscious is what's going to make you actually do the work and get up every day and fuel your focus, right? To go get the goals. And then your subconscious mind records what you do and think as what must be what you want, right? So again, this is all going to be about changing your mindset so that you are in the right headspace and the right frame of mind to go do the things that you need to do. So one of the things that, or one of the slides that I like is that most of us are in what's called a fixed mindset, believe it or not. We might flirt with the growth mindset, but we really want to transition into a growth mindset mode. We want to, instead of I'm either good at it or I'm not, that I can learn anything that I want to, right? When I'm frustrated, I give up. We want to change that to when I'm frustrated, I persevere. I don't like to be challenged to, I really want to challenge myself, because when you challenge yourself, that's when you grow, right? Growth comes from those pain moments, and you can break through and learn something new or figure out something new, right? When I fail, I'm no good. We need to change your mindset to when I fail, I learn. And we hear that phrase of failing forward, right? So that is a growth mindset. Tell me I'm smart, or tell me I'm actually trying hard. If you succeed, I feel threatened. We want to change your mindset to if you succeed, I'm actually inspired, and that makes me want to work harder. My abilities determine everything. Versus my effort and attitude determine everything, right? Some of us, that saying of, I don't even know exactly what it is, but attitude and hard work will beat talent, right? Or can beat talent. Some of us just naturally have talents, and that's only going to take you so far. But the talented people sometimes just rest on their laurels, right? They're like, talented, I'm good with that. They don't work real hard. Whereas someone with the right attitude and the right mindset and hard work, that's going to determine everything. That's going to really drive your results. So really think about that. Sit down and ask yourself, you guys, how do you talk to yourself? What's the mindset that you're in? What are you feeding yourself every day? So what are some ways that you can maybe start to change your mindset? Aaron, I know you know this because you've been in a lot of, trainings and whatnot, where they talk about what can you do to start your day every day?
Yeah. So a big thing that I've learned was a few years back, I started doing daily affirmations.
Absolutely. Would you be willing to share some of those?
Yeah. So, at first, when I first started doing, I thought they're kind of silly. I was just kind of repeating the same things over and over. But then after about 60 days in a row, I started to believe it.
Yep.
And so it takes a long time to, obviously form a habit, but it's basically you're rewiring your brain to believe something.
Absolutely.
And it's just really simple ones. It starts with whatever follows I am, that's what you become. I am strong, I'm healthy, I'm bright, I'm intelligent, I'm kind, all kinds of positive things. You just feed yourself positivity, and it really just affects your overall perception on a lot of different things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks for sharing. Positive affirmations are huge. And I agree with Aaron. I think if you have never done them and you start, you will feel a little silly, right? And I recommend that you look in the mirror when you do these, but you write out, 3 or 5 of them that you want to say every morning and maybe even every night before you go to bed, right? And you look in the mirror and you say them, I am smart. I am the best agent for my clients. I am brilliant. I am a great mom. Whatever those things are, you say them to yourself over and over and over. And the more you hear those, the more you do believe them. I firmly believe what Erin said. Think about that, you guys. Have you ever just been like in a room with people who are just whining and naysayers and blah, 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 and you're like, man, what a Debbie Downer, right? We start to become that, right? When we surround ourselves with that mentality. So you need to be around the positives. When we talk about being in an environment that really helps you, you guys really need to think about that. Do you have friends that bring you down all the time, that say you can't do certain things? Maybe those are friends we need to eliminate from our lives. I'm not telling you to go out and get rid of all your friends, but maybe ask them to help you be more positive, ask them to stop being so negative, and if they don't, and they're just that way, maybe you do have to remove yourself from that situation. Ways you can get around helping build your mindset. There's lots of books about mindset for success as well. Doing those positive affirmations. Journaling is a great way too. Write down the positive things that maybe things that didn't go so well, but how you can improve or change those things. That's a really good nightly ritual as well. And you don't have to journal and, take an hour every night, take 5 minutes, sit down and just say, what didn't go so great today and how can I improve those? And how can I be better tomorrow, right? Always thinking about how you'll persevere, right? Or get better and inspired. There's lots of inspirational things that you can look at online too. Maybe you start your day in the morning with your positive affirmations, but then you watch something that's very uplifting or that gets your day started in the right way. I heard something a while back, and I always think about this, and I actually always think about it when I'm golfing, which is weird. But when you tell your brain, don't do this, all your brain thinks about is the do this part, right? So if you're saying, I can't do this, I'm not good at this, your brain is just thinking that, right? So you need to start with, instead of don't do it, talk about doing. Instead of today, I'm not going to do this, say, today, I'm going to do this, right? Start your brain working on what you do want to do versus what you don't want to do. Okay. Any questions on that? Anybody else do positive affirmations or anything else that they do that you do on a daily basis to maybe start your mindset off? Okay. Well, if you do next time and you want to share, feel free. Okay. So let's move into why we're even doing our business planning, right? It's super important to have a why, to have a purpose. Our big why is really our purpose for doing what we do. Most of us know what we do. We know how we do it. Most of us know how we do it, right? We go out, we sell real estate. We know how it gets done, but do you really know why you do it? And when I say why, I mean your deep seated, big reason or purpose for doing this. So this is going to be one of the pieces of your homework, that I'm going to have you do, but we'll have some fun with it and do some exercises here, and I'll get a volunteer, but you have to get clear now on what your big why is, because your why is going to matter if you want to actually hit your goals this year, right? And you need to know what your why is, and you need to revisit it on a regular basis. But the thing is that I think people don't go big enough on their why, right? They'll, and there's nothing wrong with this, but they'll say something like, my big why is my family. I need to make sure I take care of my family. Okay. That's a great why, but I don't think it's big enough. Right. And what I mean by that is, sometimes we have to dig super deep to understand even why the big why is the big why. So there's an exercise that you can go through, and it's called the 5 deep why exercise, to really make sure you have thought about this at a super deep level. So, if you start with what you think your big why is, what I want you to do is then ask yourself, why is this important to me? Okay. And then repeat that 5 levels deep. So does anybody want to be kind of a quick guinea pig? And I'm not saying that this will be your ultimate big why when you do the exercise at home on your own and in your own thought and time. But does anybody want to be my guinea pig? Aaron, do you want to jump on in and
Sure.
maybe help me out? Okay. So let's just take a minute, and if you can maybe come up with a why that you think is a big enough why, and we'll start with that. So do you have one in mind?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, well, kind of a default vague goal, but why is to succeed and grow and sell more houses.
Okay.
But as far as initially up front, I don't have anything immediate.
Okay. Well, that's your goal, right? Is to
Yep.
sell more houses and to grow. So let's just say, I know this slide says income goal. We won't use that. We'll just use your why. So, okay. So Aaron, why is growing and selling more houses important to you?
Well, it does 2 things. First one, it helps me help more people because I like helping people, and also just to grow my income, which
Yep.
is the first one there.
Okay. So let's start with your first one. For you, helping people. It's important to you to help people. Why
Mhm.
is that important to you?
I think that is a strong reward to see people, transition from, say one house to another house, or from renting to a house, or if it's an investor growing their portfolio, it just helping them grow and succeed in life more.
Okay. So helping other people grow and succeed. Why is that important to you?
Um, I think that is a good reward outside of the financial aspect.
Okay. So you getting a reward, why is that important? You're telling me what's happening when you do these things, but why is it important to you? What does that reward do for you?
It brings me some purpose.
Okay. Okay. So do you see how just keep digging deeper and deeper and deeper? And let's just say, let's go with your other one, your financial goal, right? If you sell more houses, you make more money in the end, right? It helps
Right.
your finance. Why is that important to you?
So I can pay my bills and then grow a better lifestyle.
Okay. And so why is that important to you?
It just helps me become a better person. If I have more money, then I can become healthier and I can contribute more back.
Awesome. And why is contributing more back important to you?
Because I think we should all contribute more instead of just taking.
Yep. Yep. So right, it makes you feel good, right? It fills your bucket, right?
Right.
So which then makes you a better person, right? So those are the things that you guys have to dig deep. And I know Aaron, you don't have any kids at this point in time and whatnot. So, someone who maybe has kids will go down the family route, right? I want to make sure my kids are taken care of. I want to make sure I can pay for my kid to go to college. I want to take my family on a trip because we've never done a family trip, right? Whatever that big why is for you, throw it out there and then really dig deep. And when I say, why is it important to you? Really ask yourself. I mean, this is a hard thing to do. And I apologize, Aaron, for putting you on the spot.
That's fine.
But when you're at home and you're doing this on your own, there's nobody watching, right? So you don't have to feel silly. Really dig deep and say, why is that important? Why would that make me want to get up every day and do the things that I need to do? And when we talk about our why, there are some things that matter, right? Knowing your why is hugely powerful because it really does help you understand your unique definition of success and provides you the focus. If your why is not big enough, it's not going to make you do what you need to do, right? This last little bullet point here. If your why doesn't move you, it's not going to make you move. So that's the whole purpose of digging deeper. And okay, if I just threw out there like, yeah, I want to take my family on a trip, right? Yeah, that's great. But is that really going to move me? Right? Does that like make me get up every morning? I'm like, well, no, if I don't do it this year, I can always do it next year. Right? So you got to dig deep. I remember a story of an agent saying that he set that as his big why. Like, we have never taken a family trip. We're all going to Disney World, and he shared that goal with his family. And the look on his kid's face when he wasn't getting up and doing the things that he was supposed to do every day. And when they reminded him, Dad, you need to get up and make your calls because we need to go to, we want to go to Disney World. That's the thing that's going to move him, right? There's no way he wants to disappoint his family. So he thought his big why was, I want to take my family on a trip to Disney World. But when you asked, why is that important? Well, because my family is important to me and I want to do what's good for them. But what it ultimately came down is there's no way I'm going to let my family down and disappoint my kids, right? That was the point of doing the trip. It was really, I didn't want to disappoint my family and my kids and let them down. That was what really moved him to get up every day to do the work. Okay. So you really have to figure out why your why is your why, right? Really dig deep and figure it out because that's what's going to move you. And as long as you're taking action consistently on what matters towards that big why, then you're going to succeed, right? You might not ultimately hit that goal in the end, but if you're growing towards that, that's the win. Okay. So I encourage you guys really to do the work on what the big why is. And all of the stuff that we're doing in this business planning, whether it's today or next week or the following week, I'll have Bruce put a lot of the material, a lot of the things that you can just print out and kind of use as your guide and your business planning reminders in the media files on Facebook on our Empire Mastermind page. So if you are not a member of that page, please go to Empire Masterminds on Facebook and join so that you have access to not only these recordings, but the media, the files and the printouts and things that you're going to need for doing this. Okay. So dig deep on your big why. Okay. So let's talk about, we've got our big why, we've changed our mindset, we're ready to go. What are the things that you can't control in our current market? What are some of those things? I'll take your suggestions.
Interest rates.
Exactly. We can't control what's happening with the rates out there. What else can't we control?
Inventory levels.
Yep. What else? What about, can we control if people call us back?
No.
Or people want to cancel off the market because it's, activity is slow. Anything else we can't control? We can't control what other people think, right? We can only control what we think and what we do, right? So those are the things you can't control. What are the things that you can control in this market? What are some of those things? Can you control?
Prospect.
Yep. Yep. What did we just talk about? Can you control your mindset? Yep. You have control over your mindset, right? And how you start every day. I'm going to pull up the screen. You can control your lead generation, right? You can change what you do for lead generation. You can do lead generation. You cannot do lead generation. You have control over that, right? You can control your consistency over the things that you do. You do them every day. on your time blocking, you can control that, or you don't. You can control your habits. You can control accountability. Do you have an accountability partner? Do you not? And then you can also control your market knowledge, right? So are you someone who knows what's happening out there? Do you know what the interest rates are when people ask you that? Do you know what the inventory levels are? Do you know what the predictions are? Do you or don't you, right? So we have control over these things. What I want you guys to do is, I'm going to give you just 2 minutes to think about this. I want you to look at these topics, and I know, Denise, maybe you're not able to see the screen, but mindset, lead generation, consistency, habits, accountability, and market knowledge. I want you to just take a few minutes and think on a scale from 1 to 10. 1 being, I'm really bad at this, I need to work on it, or 10, I do this, I have practices in my business that help me excel at this every day. Think about those on a scale of 1 to 10 and just take a minute to kind of rank yourself and where you are with those. And as you do that, that's going to be part of your business planning session too. When you look at that, what do you do well? What do you need to improve on? So as we get into next week's session and we set some goals, we're going to be setting goals around these things, right? What are some of the things that you can do on the daily basis to achieve the goal that you want for each one of these categories, right? So maybe a goal is every day you get up and you do those positive affirmations like Aaron did, a number of months back. He said, that's one thing I'm going to change, is get up every day and I'm going to say those affirmations. And now he's been doing it for a while. He got over that 60-day hump and it's now become habit. He's consistent with it. And because of that, it's probably changed his mindset. So, we'll be able to set those individual goals. Okay. Let's talk about the hard truth of today's market. And I'm actually I don't know if I can flip over. I want to show you guys that video. So hang on 1 second here. I'm going to stop my share here. And then I'm going to go to my share screen with my video. Okay, can you see that now? Okay, so I'm just going to play a quick little snippet of this and then we'll talk about it. Oh.
You need to stay busy stirring the pot, busy shaking the bushes, busy talking to people, collaborating, seeing what we can do to help people. Right now, during this time, so many people are kind of caught in the uncertainty of what's happening. They need you. It's a great time to build relationships, build rapport, build trust, build your database, and really take over the market. Right now, you could be taking over the market right under everyone's noses without anyone ever even seeing what you're doing. And guess what? In 6 months, 8 months, 18 months, 36 months, you're going to emerge as this massive mega agent, and everybody's going to wonder, how'd he do it? How'd she do it? Well, it's because you started today when everything went the opposite direction. You went against the grain and you said, you know what? I'm going to dig in. I'm going to call people. I'm going to talk to people. I'm going to make videos. I'm going to build my business. That's the name.
Okay. So let me go back here now. I'm going to get back to my other PowerPoint here. So after watching that, what did he say? What'd you get from that?
Stay busy, shake it up, dig in.
Yeah, do the friggin' work, right? If we're doing the work, so many other agents aren't, right? They're backing off. Oh, the market sucks, so there's nothing to do out there. I'm just going to kind of wait and see if it changes. Well, if we're building relationships, staying in front of our sphere of influence, having the discipline to do the work, we are definitely going to gain market share and come out of, this shift that we've seen, definitely. And the things that we don't have control over, we're going to do the things we have control over, and we're going to come out on the other end of this in 2024 with some great opportunities, right? So the discipline will win and come out of this with even more opportunity, and the undisciplined are really at risk of being forced out of this real estate industry. I think as of May, according to NAR, National Association of Realtors, 60,000 agents had gotten out of the industry as of May.
Wow.
So, you know, I talk to a lot of agents all the time, and everybody's like, oh, how are you doing? Do you feel the slowdown? Do you, you know, and Bruce and I have not. I mean, thankfully, it's been fairly good. I mean, I get we're getting into the time of the year where things just naturally slow down a little bit, but there were a lot of agents that didn't have business earlier this year and they got out of the industry. And I don't want that for any one of you guys, right? We want to do the work and do the things that will make us successful and come out, like he said, as one of those top agents in the end. So if you build your plan, which is what we're starting to do here with this business planning, and then come November 1st or 15th, you start to execute your plan and we build in accountability for that, there's no way you guys can't be successful. Okay. The only way you will not succeed is if you are part of the undisciplined group who just doesn't do the plan. All right. So it is super duper duper important for you guys to be focused and have your big why in place and then to do the work. I want to make sure I didn't miss on hitting any of these things. Before I flip over here. Okay, so, and I'll put this in our media files here in Empire, so you don't have to try to remember, or you certainly can take a screenshot if you want. But here are some important questions, like as you start to plan for your next year. You know, what do you want to achieve in your business? And you can also do this for your personal. I would certainly say if you're going to do your business planning, you can do both, right? But obviously our focus of this will be business related. But what do you want to achieve in your business, in your personal life in the next 5 years? So that's a bigger plan, right? We're talking not just for next year, but we want you to start thinking a little bit further ahead, because some of the things you do this next year will be part of your 5-year plan. Okay. So what do you want for 5 years? What do you want to achieve in business and personal in your next year? And then even more specific and hitting closer to home is what do you want to achieve in the next 6 months? Okay. So when you're sitting down to do your homework between now and next week, really think about 5 years, 1 year, 6 months. Okay. I also want you guys to think about what went really well for you this past year. What was working? You know, what was providing the results this year? Because do you think you want to continue that going forward? Probably, right? Those are good things. You want to continue to work and do those things that worked well. But you also need to think about what did not go well for me. You know, what are the things that didn't work and how can I maybe make some changes to those things to either make them more successful or even eliminate, right? Maybe it's something that we don't want to continue to do because it's maybe too costly. I'm not getting the return, right? So what didn't go well? What changes do you need to make for 2024 to make it a successful year? I know for me, one of those things is going to be just my schedule, right? I'm a late night person and I hate mornings, and I get a lot done at night, but I'm starting my day late, which, you know, it isn't great for when you're trying to contact people and get in front of clients, right? They're half their day's probably already over before I start mine. So I need to make those changes in my own personal calendar, and my perfect week calendar, right, to be more successful. So what obstacles do you need to overcome? So you want to make some of these changes, but what are some of those obstacles then that you need to overcome to be successful? What opportunities have you not been taking advantage of because either you're in your own way or your mindset maybe was not in the right frame, that you were missing out on taking advantage of some opportunities? And how can you leverage yourself to be able to take take advantage of some of those opportunities, right? We can only do so much, and we only have certain skill sets that we are really good at. And sometimes it's, it's either going to take time and money to go learn some of those other things, or it may be beneficial to leverage some of those things to people who are really good at those. That's why I love having a Bruce, because I am not super good at what he's really good at. And, and I'm good at things that he's not really good at. So, I'm able to leverage what I need to do for my business by having him do that for me. Or maybe you guys have an assistant, or virtual assistants are big, right? Maybe you don't have the financial wherewithal to hire an assistant full time, but there's some great virtual assistant companies out there that you can pay hourly to do some of the things that you need to have done for your business, throughout the year. So think about those opportunities of how you can maybe leverage yourself in some ways so that you can take advantage of opportunities in other aspects. What support do you need to get there, to get to your goals for 2024? Like I said, maybe it is a virtual assistant, maybe it's accountability. Maybe it's someone to just teach you, maybe it's a coach. I don't know. What support do you need? And I say support. And then the next question is, what do you need to get there? Are there things like, I need some new equipment, I need a new computer, I need a better phone, I need a better car? What are some of those things that you need to help you hit the goals for 2024? And what are you doing that you need to stop right now? What are those things that you're doing that are toxic, right? Or that really are stopping your momentum from moving forward in 2024? And then lastly, again, who's going to hold you accountable? If you guys do not have an accountability piece to your business plan, you need to add it. You can do everything that you think is right, or that you believe you should be doing. But if somebody is not checking and saying, hey, nope, Kelly, you said you were going to, talk with 20 people every day, and you've only done 15 or 17, who's going to be checking on you, right? Who's holding you accountable? Not only from just saying, hey, you're not doing the activities, but also, practicing maybe scripts, things like that, to get some feedback. It's not always that you're not doing the work, but you need someone to be accountable to help you with some feedback, right? To help you grow and get better. Script practice, I used to do that. Aaron, you were on my team. We used to do those things and role play. Video, video yourself, get yourself the feedback. Even if you don't have somebody, technology is great accountability, you guys. Video yourself doing your listing presentation or your buyer presentation, and then go watch it. I will tell you, you will reveal a bazillion things about yourself and how you do it that you don't know when you're doing it. But when you watch it, you're going to have lots of great feedback for yourself, right? Or have somebody else watch it. So accountability is a key thing for you to be successful to your goals or to yourself in 2024. So again, this is going to be part of your homework, is taking these questions and really sit down in a quiet room somewhere, take an hour, go through it, and really be honest with yourself and answer these questions so that you have a successful next session when we really start setting those goals and digging deep. Okay. And then the last part for today is we're going to go over the homework. And again, as I mentioned, Bruce will put some of the aids, the sheets that will help aid you in going through this homework. And I'll make sure that we get those on. They should be on by today. If not, worst case, they will be on by tomorrow. And then I'll send a reminder out through Empire that they're on there. But what I want you to do is I want you to think about your main income goal for 2024. Okay. So what I mean by that is, if your goal is to make $200,000 in 2024 or $100,000, I want you to, whatever that income goal is, I want you to think about that, because we're going to use that next week. Okay. I want you to complete that big why and go 5 deep of why it's important to you I want you to do that exercise, and I'll ask for some volunteers to share next week if you're brave enough to do that. And then I want you to go through these important questions that we went through and write down your answers. The other part that's super important for next week is to gather your numbers. Next week, like I said, we're going to get really into the nuts and bolts of, the setting your goals, breaking it down on if your income goal is here, how do we get there, right? What does that mean in regards to how many appointments how many calls you have to make and contacts you have to be in front of, how many appointments you need to set, how many, transactions you need to close. We're going to really get into that next week. So knowing your numbers is going to be important. Otherwise, you're going to be just staring at the screen as everybody else goes through doing their goal setting. You won't know how to fill in those numbers. Okay. So I need you to know, like, what's your average sale price for your buyers and what's your average sale price for your listings? And if you don't know how to find that, just look at, what did you do for buyer sales? If you did 10 sales, what was that total volume? Divide it by the number of sales, and you're going to have your average sale price. Okay. And same with listings. All the listings that you sold in 2023, you take the total volume of that and you divide it by the number of listings that you sold, and you're going to come up with your average sale price. Okay. What percentage of your business is buyers versus listing? So again, you take your total business. How many of those were buyers? How many of those were listings sold? And you'll be able to come up with your percentage of business. This is really important because if you, and if you even go back a few years and do that, you'll kind of see trends, right? I tend to be more of a buyer representative, or I tend to do more listings. That's going to help us when we break down your goals for 2024, is to know what percentage of business you do on the buy side and what percentage you do for listing. And then what's your average commission earned for buyers and for the listings that you sold? We see a lot of times now, the listing or the buy side commission is really changing, right? I know, Aaron, down in your area, you've seen that for years, that the buyer, agent, or the buyer agent commission has gone down into the twos, 2.2, 2.7, 2.5. We're really starting to see that in our area. So, years before, I used to use 3%, right, for each. Well, that's not necessarily so accurate anymore. So really look at what you're getting paid in your market on the buyer transactions that you've done. Maybe it comes out to be less than 3. Maybe it's more than 3. I don't know. On the listing side, maybe you're a listing agent that charges 7 or 8% total, and excuse me, you're only paying out 2.7 on the buy side, which means then what you're keeping on the listing side is maybe more than 3%, right? So really go deep and break down your accurate numbers as far as what's your average commission percentage that you earn for both the buy side and the listing sold. Okay. And then even more important for you guys to know is what your conversion rates are. So, how many contacts does it take before you set an appointment? If you don't know what your conversion rate is and don't take the time to do it, I would tell you to use about 2%. That's probably the correct, might even be high for some of us, for a conversion rate on how many contacts it actually takes for you to make, or calls it takes you to make to set an appointment. Okay. And then appointments to buyer rep or listing contracts. How many appointments do you need to go on before you're able to sign someone up on a buyer rep or a listing contract, right? And if you don't know what that is, I would recommend you use 60% until you do develop the knowledge of what your own conversion rates are. Some of us are higher, like mine is a lot higher in that. But when I first started, I wasn't, right? It took me some time to build some skill sets up, right? And then when you do get someone under a buyer rep, or you do get a listing signed, what's your percentage of getting them to that point to then actually getting an accepted contract on that home or for that buyer? What's that conversion rate for you? And then what's the conversion rate of, we're under contract? How many of my under contract buyers or under contract listings actually get to the closing table, right? Some of those fall out of bed. So Knowing those numbers are really super important, you guys, to give you the most accurate picture for what you need to do to meet your goals. If you're just guessing, then I'm just going to tell you, guessing will never get you results, right? You're going to set your goals, you're going to do all of this, but if you're just guessing on your numbers and your conversion, you're not going to hit your goals. And be honest with yourself. There is no right or wrong. It's the reality of what you need to know. If you're not very good at converting appointments to contracts, and let's just say your conversion rate is, 20%, where most of us are going to be 60 to 75, then that's just all that's telling you. Is it's not telling you you're a bad agent. It's telling you where you need to, put some work in, right? I need to maybe build some of my goals, as far as maybe I'm going to role play some script practice so I get better at that, and converting appointments. All it's going to do is really give you a reality snapshot to help you build the right activities and accountability into your plan so that you get better and you do achieve those goals in 2024.
And as you do this, as you put together your conversion rates, if you don't know them, use the percentages that Kelly's put down, and then adjust them after every quarter of next year, right? Because you'll know after the first quarter, you'll know, if you keep track of them, what yours are going to start to be. So then adjust your rest of the year to those percentages. And then that will give you a lot quicker, accurate picture of what exactly you're doing compared to, just these random numbers. Like Kelly said, if you're not using the actual numbers, you're really not, it's going to throw off your forecast.
Yeah. And that's a really good point. I'm going to stop my share because we're kind of at the end of my slideshow here for the day. But that's a really good point, you guys, is that we're going to be doing our goal setting here and our business planning, over the next number of weeks, right? To set us up for 2024. This is fluid. What I mean by that is, because we set these goals and these numbers and everything today, you guys should be reviewing this really on a monthly basis, it worst case quarterly, but really at the end of the month, you should be reviewing, am I doing the activities that I said I was doing? Are my conversion rates, like Bruce said, where they were? Do I need to adjust those? Did something happen in the market, like, a COVID or a whatever, that now I really do need to adjust what I thought was going to, be achievable and whatnot in 2024, but market conditions may have changed, some of that. There's no wrong in adjusting. That's good business, right? You're looking at things, you're looking at what's happening externally and internally. Maybe you get sick. Maybe God forbid, you get in a car accident where you're not able to get out and do the things that you're doing, right? All of those things could affect your plan for 2024. So just know that this is a really great, solid foundation and starting point, but it's fluid and it should be revised or reviewed. I should say reviewed every month, and revisions can be made. Okay. So we're just going to help set some foundation, today and then over the next couple of weeks, so that you've got a plan. We always talk about the map, right? We're creating the map for 2024. If I told you guys to get in your car and drive to, Paducah, Kentucky, the first thing you guys are going to do, you're going to get on Google Maps or your GPS, and you're going to put that in your phone or in your car so that you have the map on how to get there. I'm not saying you couldn't get there without a map or without your GPS. You could, but it is going to take you a lot longer than if I get in my car and I put it in my GPS and I drive to Paducah, right? So all we're saying is, why not give yourself the map and the GPS so that you get there quicker and easier than just trying to wing it over here. And, you're going to have a lot more pitfalls and a lot more distractions along the way if you don't have a map. Okay.
And let me just interject here. Here's a simple analogy. If you don't know your numbers, what you're doing is you're spinning your wheels, right? You are doing way more work than maybe what you need to. And what I mean by that is, we all know that if you sell $100,000 house, you make X amount of dollars. Let's say at 3%, you make $3,000, right? If you double that and you sell a $200,000 house, you make twice that much, right? So if you get your average up, you're making more money on less sales, but it's less work, right? So the same thing applies to your conversion numbers. If you don't know what they are, and like Kelly said, your conversion rate is 20% versus 60%, you're blowing through a lot of people, right? That
doing a
just
lot
means
more
that you
work.
have to, that just means that you have to contact that many more people to make your number. If you get your conversion, if you realize that and you get that conversion rate up a little bit or up a lot, you have to contact less people. So you're doing less work to hit the same dollar amount. So by knowing your numbers, you can identify areas that you need to work on or get better on or have schooling on or get a coach for. And once you do that, you're going to be spending less time making more money by contacting less people because you're better at your craft.
Yep. That's where you really see growth, right? You get better at what you do. So then it saves you time on doing those daily activities. So now you can work, on your business, right? And now you can go to the next thing that you wanted to add to your business or do to help your business grow. So it's mastering your craft here at this level so that you can then do something new or add something new for your growth. Okay. So really good first day of kind of some, I don't want to say fluff, but like good foundational work that we need. We didn't get into the numbers just yet, and the building the plan, but we're going to do that next week. So do the work, do your homework, and we'll see you. I should say, any questions before we leave or before we part? Anyone? Okay, good. So I will get those things in the Facebook page under media. So just go to the media tab, and then we'll get those little PDF helpers in there for you. Hopefully by today or worst case tomorrow, I'll send out a notice on Empire, and then we'll see you next week, Wednesday, to really dig in and get your economic model put together for 2024. Okay. Have a great day. You are all great agents. Do those positive affirmations. See you next week.
See you guys. Thanks for attending.